We got all staggers, except for Dengar. Let's go. No turns for you. You come back next week. Well, greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved Star Wars Dad, here once again with your pal, Calvin Awesome, otherwise known as Carth Onassi. He loves it. He loves it. He's got the collar buttoned up just like Carth. He's looking sharp. Anyway, we're going to talk today about the the Imperial troopers under Veers' lead and what is the best ability there. Calvin, any initial thoughts or looking forward to this one?
Oh, I'm actually looking forward to this one quite a lot because I hold the opinion that one of these abilities, and we'll get into it, it'll become pretty clear by the end. One of these abilities, I think, is actually the most important Zeta in the entire game.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll look forward to talking about that, sir. So we've got Veers. I think this is just a... I don't think... I mean, you got any debate for me here?
No. I mean, it's definitely the leadership. There was a time when it would have been the unique, back before we had Piet and Night Sisters were Imperial Troopers' main target, where you really needed the deaths to get anywhere, but buffs is where most of the turn meter comes from nowadays with Emperor's Trap.
Yep. And for me, really, when I was looking at this, I knew it was going to... Some of the characters, you know, it's going to be that, and you know that lead is going to be there and probably at the end in this voting, just because it's so important to the team and it's what drives the team. But let's look at Piet here. Imperial Ambition. Is there any argument here?
Yes and no. Imperial Ambition, I think one thing that people might not realize, and we actually talked about this in a video recently, is you use it, but ideally you probably only want to use it once from a turn meter point of view. And the reason why is you actually gain more turn meter by calling 2 allies to attack out a turn. You get more Emperor's Trap that way, or actually more buffs that way overall, and that will generate more turn meter. I guess there are some niche cases where you want to keep using it, where you actually need a character to taunt. That would probably be more relevant if you're using Piet on a Lord Vader team, but for the overall trooper team, I think the basic is probably going to end up getting used more, but you still want to use Imperial Ambition once. So it can sit in the top. I'm not offended by that.
Yeah, and I think for me, the Imperial Ambition, when you put it on Dark Trooper, for instance, and you can call him in to hit 2 or 3 times, you know, depending on the situation, that's where you do all your damage. And that's called in with your basics, so, you know, which one is which. Chicken and egg situation there, but yeah, okay. Yep. So, Emperor's Trap, I mean, nobody uses his lead, so, you know.
Oh, that's for Piet, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think there was like some really weird use for his lead a long time ago, but it wasn't even that good. And it was really rare that you could even use it.
Right,
it was like when you needed specific, I think it was going up against Jedi Knight Luke lead, and you just absolutely had to have the 20 extra speed, otherwise you wouldn't go first or something like that.
But I don't remember his lead at all.
Yeah, it reduces speed for light side characters, but anyways, yeah.
We're going deep into your file cabinet today, my friend. I'm enjoying this. Let's see here.
Yeah, stuff.
So Imperial Ambition, Emperor's Trap. So Emperor's Trap kind of ran away with this. Does that fall in line with what you think?
It's not close, in my opinion. Imperial Ambition, while it is good, like I think you cited Dark Trooper, and that's probably the most relevant factor of it, that ability could entirely go away, and you would not take Piet off the Imperial Trooper team.
Good point.
Like, at all.
Good point. And you just the 6% offense every time is 6%, right?
Well, to me, it's the turn meter, like, because every single time that you assist at a turn, whether it be because Piet is countering, whether it be because range is unique is calling someone in, you're getting an advantage. And then the actual stat boost is nice of the offense and potency.
Yep. All right, Dark Trooper, Pneumatic Punch just destroyed everything. You know, I like these abilities. I'll use Perfect Soldiers just to pump turn meter some. You know, like if I'm falling behind a little bit, I'll do Perfect Soldiers. But like you said, you know, maybe I'm gaining Imperial Ambition in the meantime, or not Imperial, the Emperor's Trap in the meantime, so maybe I don't need to do that. Bombarding Reinforcements, you're just kind of using as a, you know, if you're running low on stacks. But I mean, Pneumatic Punch is kind of the runaway hero here.
Yeah, and anytime you have a character where you notice you're always, or not always, but consistently picking the basic ability over the specials, there's a reason why. And I guess the chicken or the egg argument again, the unique is one of the things that is powering the basic, because he gets a hit off for every single stack he has, and the unique is how he gets 4 stacks. I would still give it to the basic. It seems like a little bit of a weird clause, but it probably needs to be mentioned.
Yep, I gotcha. And then we've got, I mean, now this is interesting because scan all wavelengths. You know, we've been talking historically here. when the troopers were out, and for years, this was the first ability you wanted to go off because it applies 2 buffs and gets that turn meter train going until Piet came out, and then even Moff Gideon now in some circumstances. You know, this scan all wavelengths was what drove the Imperial Trooper team for years before Piet came out.
Yeah, and in some circumstances, it still is kind of what bridges the gap. I've moved Moff Gideon to several other teams because he's just that good. He can be fun under a Padme team and also in an Imperial Remnant team. So basically what I'm getting at, sometimes Stark does get actually used again under the Veers leadership, and that's still the first ability. Like, that hasn't changed. There are some rare instances where you need the Dispel from his third ability, which is kind of nice. I am a little perplexed to see the unique up this high. That's cost some people battles, because you can, with Imperial Troopers, you can sometimes get turn meter locked against a character that has damage immunity or Nest who builds up stuff, and that ability right there reduces turn meter, which can be helpful in some circumstances, but can be detrimental in others. So that seems inflated to me, the 26%. Like, it's not that good.
Yeah, I really don't remember.
Isn't even that relevant either. Oh, no, it is defense penetration, which that's good.
Yeah, I don't remember much about it. I know that the Zeta, like, gives an extra, like, small health recovery or something. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah. We're both going with scan all wavelengths here, so we'll just stick with that. And
actually isn't bad on that one either, because I think it has defense down. So if you aren't running Moff Gideon, it's nice to have that in your back pocket, assuming it lands.
Gotcha. Hey, what do we got? Range Trooper here. Steady. I don't know. What what's your familiarity with here? I can't think of the unique at all.
So the unique on this one is rather important. It is the ability. They have a 50% chance. All Imperial Troopers have a 50% chance to assist out of turn. This in the beginning, when he first came out, was, I mean, that's okay. Like, that's nice to have other characters to assist. But sometimes it was like a really crummy one, like Veers would assist and be like, okay, thanks, Veers. But again, ever since Piet came out, those attacks out of turn, they generate Emperor's Trap.
Yep.
And then you get turn meter, you get offense, you get potency, you start bridging gaps you otherwise wouldn't bridge. So it is, I actually said this in the comment section of this one. If you were to take away Range's basic and special, you would still want him on the team purely for that unique. And someone made the comment of like, Steady is superior because it's at a more pivotal point. But if you do the math, 50% chance to attack at a turn, and for how many times that will get used, you're getting way more assists. I think at least 3, if not 4 times more assists on average from that unique than you are getting it from the special. So special isn't bad. You definitely want to use it as primary unless you're fighting the Darth Revan team with HK-47 that is both Zetas, which is a pretty specific scenario nowadays. But for the most part, the unique is just better.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of HK-47 these days.
You just don't get a lot of Darth Revan lead these days.
No, not at all. Control the situation here. I mean, yeah, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are some weird situations where like you can't reduce turn meter, or where reducing turn meter punishes you, or you can't gain the turn meter back. But the solution to that is just don't take Moff Gideon versus those teams, I guess. Because the Darksaber lunge, that is pretty relevant. We recently took a Sidious versus a DTMG squad in 3v3, and one of the reasons why we almost lost, one of the reasons why it only has like a 50% success rate, is because Sidious loses all of his defense bonus after you get those Darksaber lunge. So yeah, control the situation wins, but Armor Shred is still clutch.
Yeah, and I think you're right to point. It's like if you've got a team where you can't gain turn meter, or they're probably not going to use the troopers anyway. So yeah, this is one of the lowest basics, by the way. I find that with all these, well, there's 1% there, but I'm always amazed that something always gets a vote, and I've never had anything get 0%. And it's always, and then somebody always come up with the snarky, anyway. So I just find that interesting as we go through.
Someone wasn't reading.
And then, of course, we got his lead. Well, his lead is coming into play now, but, for the first 2 or 3 years he's been out there, it hasn't really been a thing, right?
Also, has his lead been used now?
Is he not leading the Moff Gideon Dark Trooper team? I guess Dark Trooper...
Oh, no, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon is leading that.
You're right. Yeah. Never mind. Ignore me. I was thinking backwards on that. So, unique, right?
Yeah, but this one to me would not be close at all. I've experimented a little bit with that leadership in 3v3. I do have the Zeta for it. It's not good.
Oh, you have the Zeta.
Even if you meet
Congratulations.
all the fancy requirements to go with it, the amount of teams that it beats are few and far between. And the larger issue at hand is Gideon is just too good in so many other squads. We don't see it as much nowadays because he's been really heavy set into either Padme, an Imperial Trooper team, Imperial Remnant team, but he has a lot of plug-and-play viability, specifically because the Unique has just this universal damage reduction that once he takes the turn and gets demoralized on them, it really it hurts a lot of teams out there.
Yeah, and then control the situation wins out over the Unique. Are we on board here?
Yeah, but I mean, again, this isn't how the poll works. This is who voted for it rather than the other one. But if this were a percentage of like, is it actually 9 times better? The answer would definitely be no.
Right.
They're actually, I would say they're pretty comparable. Control the situation wins though.
Yeah, I agree. All right. And plus you can use controls. I mean, this is Imperial Trooper team, but I think a Gidme team, I mean, that just runs that's what sets up the whole thing. So
it does, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Pneumatic Punch beats out Control the Situation and Steady on this one. How are your thoughts there?
This one's a little bit harder for me to swallow because I think I agree with it, but at the same time, the Trooper team existed before we got Dark Trooper at all, with, let's say, the 2 above abilities, and it still kind of ran over a lot of different teams. Like Dark Trooper, and this will get some fun comments. Dark Trooper isn't the reason why Troopers are still relevant in some places on the board. It's because of everything they were already doing, specifically coming from Piet. Like Emperor's Trap to me would be the winner. But of these 3, I mean, Pneumatic Punch is probably the most important. It's definitely more important than Steady. I don't know. Yeah, because you don't even need Control the Situation versus a lot of teams, so it probably is Pneumatic Punch.
I think you're right about that. And I also think you're right about the Troopers can run through stuff without it. Like, if you look at, if you go back to those, you find some old guides to assault battles for the Ewoks, Endor Escalation, and Rebel Roundup. There's no Dark Trooper in there because he didn't exist. It would have been, people were doing tier 2 and tier 3 of that with, with Veers, I guess Veers, Piet, Stark, and then Range Trooper and maybe a tank or something. You could do it without the Dark Trooper. The Dark Trooper, though, I think really contributes, like if you're cleaning up a Galactic Legend, that extra damage to me is, you won't get that out of the rest of the team. And I never tried it without him, I guess, but to me, like when he assists 2 or 3 times against a Jabba, and that's your only chance to kill him, you need all that damage to make it happen.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. Like, he is what unlocks the final tier of counters for Imperial Troopers, but he is, I guess in a lot of ways, he's a lifter to the team more than he is core. I guess that's what I'm getting at.
That's the way to put it. All right, so Emperor's Trap beats out Veers' lead here. What are the thoughts there?
Again, this is a chicken or the egg situation because one of the reasons why Emperor's Trap is so good is because of Veers' lead. And
like we were talking before Piet existed, this team was doing a lot of good things with the lead out there that gave all the turn meter, even though you didn't have that ramping damage and the extra buffs along the way either.
Yeah, this is just gonna chalk up to your point of view.
Thank you, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, because again, the main reason why Emperor's Trap is so good is because of the lead. There are some other benefits, but there are also other ways to gain buffs outside of Emperor's Trap. It's just so much harder. Yeah, I have to say both. I don't think I can objectively say that one is more important than the other.
I think if you look at the Troopers, these are the 2 abilities that drive the entire team along the whole path, right? I mean, these 2 put together is kind of like one big lead, one big support, and everything else just falls in the line behind it.
100% agree with that. Those are the core abilities for the team. You don't have Imperial Troopers if you don't have those.
Right. So I can't remember what wins here, but that was actually a pretty close vote. I thought that Pneumatic Punch may have won and we would have had a conversation here, but Emperor's Trap comes in over Pneumatic Punch here.
Yeah, definitely does. Again, this isn't the way the polls are presented, but it's in my opinion, it's not close at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. So there we have it with Calvin. Awesome. Calvin, this is the most important Zeta in the game? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
Yeah, it is. It just ties everything together. It gives them every single thing they want to do between turn meter, between offense, between potency. Just wraps everything together quite nicely.
All right, man. Well, I love it. And you know what? It'll be fun to talk as we We're gonna be going through more of these over time. You're gonna help me go. Calvin's gonna help me go through all these polls, and I really appreciate it. Just want to say thanks while we're here live together, or not live, but here together. And you know, we
It's
are live,
for
but
me.
you know, yeah. Anyway, but we'll talk more about more Zetas down the road. I'd love to have this compared to other Zetas and talk about the impact on the team because I'm, yeah, that'll be fun. So, Calvin, thanks for talking over the Imperial Troopers with me.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, sir. Everybody have a great day. We will talk to you soon. And of course, always remember, Calvin awesome, and then Nooch too good.